Hey guys, this is Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship, and I am joined with Markopolo, also known as Marco, also known as Markopolo212 from the BJA forum. He's a full-time professional advantage player and card counter, and we're also joined with co-host Joe748. How's it going, Markopolo?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Joe748?
Good. I just had a quad shot latte, so I'm ready for this.
Whoa.
Nice.
Oh, man. Now I feel like I need some coffee, but I'm good here.
A little jealous.
Well, we're going to take a brief break and I'll get juiced up with caffeine. No time for that. No time for that. I want to get into your story, Marco. Can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing before Blackjack and what led you into card counting? Well,
I was doing a welding job. I wasn't exactly happy with the job. I didn't hate it. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was, I worked in the heat. I worked in the terrible cold. I worked in Kansas City, so the weather wasn't always great. And I just wasn't very happy with it. So me and my girlfriend had offers to go. I think I went to like a bachelor party or something years and years ago. So for some reason, Caesars was still sending me room offers. So we would just get out of the house and go use these free room offers. Like, why not? Right. So I would go down to the casino floor by myself just to go look at what's out there and see if I want to gamble. Well, I came across Blackjack, and I remember the movie, obviously.
Which movie? 21?
Yeah, it's called 21, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember the movie, and I was like, card counting is a thing, right? Like, is it actually a thing you can do to make money, though? So I did some research, and of course came across your website, Colin, but I did not buy it right away. I looked into it, and it looked like something I'm interested in, and that can be done. So I started kind of practicing and training to see if I'm able to do this. And let's see. I trained for about 6 months doing it, and then I bought the membership for your website.
What were you using? Yeah, for like your training like tool. Like, where were you getting the info?
So I would look at the site, Colin's site, and do like the mini course. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's like the free video mini course, and then we got like a few free training drills.
Right, and then I'd watch all the YouTube videos and just anything I came across that'd help me train, I would do, or deal decks to myself. But I didn't really understand it at first. I thought card counting was what I needed to learn first. I didn't know there was a basic strategy and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I started dealing decks to myself at home, just trying to count cards. And then basic strategy came after that.
And it's kind of a chicken or the egg. You're going to have to learn both, but usually I recommend someone get just really, really good at basic strategy first. But, there's nothing wrong with getting really, really good at counting first, then learning basic strategy. And there's enough out there that you can absolutely train, with the free stuff out there. Plenty of people do it. But then where things go from there? You spent 6 months kind of training on your own. You got a membership and then what?
Yeah, so I bought the membership and I started reading on your forum, and I seen people talking about like meeting up, and people just kept talking about it. Like, let's meet up at a bar and do some networking or training or just meet people. But no one would really follow through with doing it. So I seen Fateful on the forum, and he was interested in meeting up. So I ended up messaging him, I think, and we followed through with meeting up and trying to get other people to meet up and do some training and stuff like that. And we ended up calling it the Midwest Meetup because we're from the Midwest, and the majority of the people that wanted to meet up were in our area in the Midwest.
And so how was that meetup?
It was small at first. It was just like 5 people. It was me, Oro Hunter, Fateful. I think a small town guy was at the first one. And it was good. We didn't do a lot of training the first time we met up. We kind of just got to meet each other and make sure we're not going to get killed.
Yeah, no weirdos showed up or...
Right, yeah. So we just met and talked and kind of talked about our goals for pursuing card counting.
And no training then, but then it led to what, another meetup?
Right. So after that, I kept doing it by myself after that meetup. And we plan to do another one like in the next year. but that didn't happen for a long time. I did my own thing for the rest of the year and met more people, and I did red chipping by myself. And we just kind of kept in touch. And then later, we ended up doing another Midwest meetup. So there'd be the second one at this point. And we had almost too many people show up that it was just too much to handle.
And there was training at that one, right?
Right. So the second one was all training. People could come work on whatever they wanted to work on. A couple pros showed up, came through and did test outs for people, not saying they were free test outs, but it was available. It was an option to do.
That's awesome. So you guys, I guess I could thank you for it, but really inspired me with that meetup. I thought that is so awesome.
That's right. You did one in Seattle, right?
We did. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, it was part of why we, did this whole chat room software, and the regional chat rooms is like, how do we kind of empower people to, I want to learn card counting, but it's hard on my own and it's lonely and all that stuff. And then you guys did this Midwest meetup. It was like, oh man, people could find other people in their area, if we had this. And then we did one, Seattle. Probably would have done more if my wife didn't mind me inviting a bunch of strangers over to our house. But she's like not yet letting me do that. So we had to have to find somewhere else to do it. The other is there's been this weird pandemic going on, so it's kind of hard to plan some of that stuff. Not a lot of places are like, we want, at least here in Seattle, we want 20 people all in a room together. But it's awesome what you guys are doing. It's actually kind of changed blackjack apprenticeship in some ways. So good job.
Cool. I did not know that.
Yeah. So then where'd things go from there? Your second Midwest meetup, you're finding people, you're training.
Yeah. So after the second Midwest meetup, on my way home, I had to drive like 4 hours to get back home, but I was stopping at casinos on my way, and I had a pretty good upswing at that point. So a good upswing for red chipping.
Yeah.
And so I ended up deciding to pay for a boot camp. And I spent half my bankroll to go to your boot camp.
Wow.
Which I think it was the right decision. I was at that point where I was confident in my game being pretty close to perfect. I'm sure it wasn't perfect at the time, but I was confident it was at the point I need to go to boot camp and learn what else I need to know.
Can you take us through that decision? Like, because I feel like not many people would do that. And then the people that have done it, I've heard that they, don't regret doing it, and they, absolutely were glad they did it. But like, it is a pretty big leap of faith to throw in half of your bankroll to go for it. So what was that like making that decision?
Right. I was nervous. Like I just had an upswing. I didn't want to throw away a lot of my bankroll, but I feel like it was a good decision because I was doing that to get better at what I'm doing and hopefully make that money back I spent on bankroll by continuing doing the red chipping and card counting.
So you came to the boot camp, and how did it go? Who tested you? Do you remember?
Yeah, Joe tested me out, actually.
Oh, fun.
And if you guys haven't seen Joe deal,
I've seen it.
It's fast.
Yeah. So, Joe, how did Marco's test out go? Do you remember?
Man, I hate to say it, but I can't remember. There's just been so many test outs. So
I didn't think you would have remembered. You have so many people come through. And
I mean, how did it go?
So you guys ask before you guys do test outs, like people raise their hand if they think they're going to pass. I was starting to raise my hand because I was like, I could maybe pass. I want to try at least, but I don't think I'll get it 100%, especially with Joe dealing to me. So, but it went how I kind of expected. I had Joe dealing, I had Ceci Red doing the evaluation, and I made 3 mistakes. I think I bought insurance too early once. I might have been off on my running count by a little bit, or a deck estimation wasn't perfect whenever I was buying insurance. I had some mistakes, which I expected, but I wasn't too happy.
And what did you do from there? Were you able to hone in on your training, or you just go back to playing?
Yeah. So when I was in Vegas during the boot camp, I continued playing. I actually went to El Cortez to get my first back off, just to say. I think a lot of people have done that.
Yeah.
But I went back home, cleaned up my game as much as I could. I kept red chipping at my locals.
And how many hours did you feel like you'd put in at that point?
I think before boot camp, I was at about 120 hours or so. And then after that, I was a little closer to 200 hours.
After, you mean just red chipping?
Yeah, just red chipping.
And did your bankroll keep growing? You said it was like positive variance.
Yeah.
I mean, did it just keep going up?
Yeah. Well, so I feel like I didn't do it the wrong way. Like I red chipped gradually and just kept doing that. Like I didn't do a Hail Mary, or I didn't like get super lucky with a big bet spread in the beginning, like some people. So I feel like I did it the right way. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I just got stupid lucky, and you can't count on that. And for every one of me, there's probably 20 versions of me out there that went bust, and that was their card counting adventure, and back at the welding job or whatever.
Yeah, and Joe, didn't you do like 2 different bankrolls when you first started?
Yeah. First one was totally my fault. And the second one, it was kind of more like your trajectory. Yeah, just like after getting tested out and just, being like conservative about risk and all that, and just letting it grow slowly. But,
and the second one, you knew your risk, right, Joe?
Yeah, I actually knew what risk of ruin was. So Marco, I had a question about the boot camp. Like, was there one thing that was like a really juicy nugget of information that you took with you? Like, what stuck with you the most at boot camp, like a piece of advice or like a strategy or something like that?
Well, I was more worried about having a perfect game. So what you guys wrote down in my evaluation was what I really paid attention to. But I took a load of information from boot camp, like your guys' presentations. Andy Ewell came in to do a presentation. I got a lot of info from that. Just the insight from a pit boss or whatever his position is now.
Yeah, that was fun. He's a dual rate. So yeah, that was and a former card counter. So that was fun. So it's so tough. I'm not here trying to like sell boot camps. And I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes, and it's like you need your brains, you need your bankroll, and like do you spend a good chunk of the bankroll to make sure that you've got the skills so that you don't just go bust, or do you say, well, I really need the bankroll, and I'm not here telling people what to do. I'm glad you felt like it was worth it. That makes me feel good. But that's a tough spot to be.
Yes, I feel like it was the right decision to go to that boot camp, even though I spent half my bankroll to go to it, because I was at the time where I needed to make sure my game was where it needed to be. And if I'm going to keep going, and if I ever hit my initial goal, am I going to keep doing this? And if I do, I need to really pay attention to having a perfect game.
Yeah.
So boot camp was the right decision.
Did you still have your job at this point?
Yeah, I did. And then when COVID hit, I lost my job. I got terminated permanently, which I did not expect whatsoever. Yeah, like they told me, we're all good. We've been prepared for something like this. You'll keep your job. Next month, I'm let go permanently. Like, wow. I was not very happy about it, but I wasn't happy with the job. Like I said, it was bad conditions to work in. And plus with the red chipping, I noticed I can make more, like $5 more an hour than I would be if I was welding.
Wow.
Based off of EV, not just
off of EV, right?
Yeah.
If I had a perfect game.
Yeah. So yeah, what'd you do? There's a pandemic going on. Obviously casinos shut for a bit, but then they reopen. And where'd you go from there? Yeah,
I continued my training. I hit my first goal. It was a 5-figure goal.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Low 5-figure goal from red chipping. And so I began to up my bet spread and play mainly double deck. And that I went through swings I've never seen before. When I first upped my bet spread, it was making me nervous, but I ended up going through a lot of swings and variants, and with where my game was at, I believe it was perfect. I ended up hitting another goal of 5 figures.
So how long did it take to reach that first 5-figure goal? How many hours?
So I'd say, I think it was like 250, 300 hours. And then after I upped my bet spread for the second goal I wanted to reach, I went through a 400-hour break-even streak.
Oh, man.
And right after that, I had a 200-hour losing streak.
Oh, man.
And I was just getting so worried. Like, what am I doing?
And what happened?
So when that happened, I was feeling discouraged. At this time, I've met other people and had a small network. When I was in Vegas, one of the times I met Burning Down the House at a bar. We grabbed a beer together, and we've been in touch ever since. So I was on the phone with him when I was going through this bad streak, 400 hours of break even and 200 of losing. And I remember being in the parking lot of a shop, and I had my last like $4,000 left of everything I've made. So I call him and I asked him what I should do. I'm about to go in the shop. I'm down to like my last $4,000 of everything I've gone through. And he said, okay, this is what you need to do. You should resize your best spread. I told him about the minimum I'm playing, what kind of game it is, the rules, everything. He just punched it in all for me while I was on the phone. And he helped me figure it all out, what to do next, and just stick to your game and go in there and keep playing. And that really helped me, having him to talk to about what I should do while I was feeling discouraged. It just helped me keep going. He said, just keep playing, stick to your game, and use this bet spread. And when I walked out of that shop, I was back to 5 figures again.
Man, that basically, 600 hours or more, were you wondering, like, get your game tested at any point? Were you thinking about quitting at any point?
Oh yeah. I thought about quitting many times.
Yeah.
But I also thought about, I've been through all of this. I trust my game. And why did I do all of that? Should I keep going? Like, it wouldn't be worth it if I stopped now, right?
How were you able to cover your expenses while you were going through this incredibly long break-even streak, playing at low stakes?
Back then, I wish I would have thought about this. I should have done that back then, is sign up for rewards programs and like hotel rewards programs to get free rooms eventually. But I did play rated in the beginning. I kind of wish I wouldn't have now, but I played rated at some places and had some free rooms and rental cars. I got discounts through, so my parents worked for Boeing and they would get rental car discounts, and that's how I would keep my expenses pretty low.
Oh, cool.
So this 600 hours, was that about a year or half a year?
I'd say a little under a year.
Okay. And you said you're down to your last 4,000. Was that of profit or of your starting bankroll?
Oh, yeah, that was of my starting bankroll.
Yeah.
No. So I started with $2,000 from the very start. Yeah, and that was just saved money.
Yeah. And so you're down to $4,000. You've been grinding for close to a year, but you're trusting your game. Did you ever get it evaluated anytime in that 600 hours?
Besides bootcamp,
yeah,
I don't believe so. No.
If you had to do over, would you have somewhere in there?
Yeah, it would have been smart too.
Even just for your own confidence, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. And I stuck to training like every day. I wasn't obsessed, but even when I was working, I would do, I'd count down decks on work breaks. After work, I'd start training. Sometimes before work, I would train on my phone. Like I was pretty excited to get it down perfect.
That's just nauseating when like did you have like the whole 4,000 like in your pocket when you're going to play? Like that's everything. So then you can just feel the size of your pocket like getting like smaller and smaller. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like all my bankroll, and I can feel it literally going away. Yes. Every hand. It's just I remember those days when you're starting out and you just the bankroll's so small, you have it all on you, and it's just the hands go by and it's like, wow. You're seeing it in real time, like
exactly.
So you're down to your last 4,000, and I mean, after such a horrific losing or not winning streak, I guess both, you downsize your betting after talking to Burning Down the House, and then you win $6,000 or whatever. I mean, I don't know. There's. I'm so glad you resized your betting because it's the right thing to do, but. but then you get some crazy positive variance after you downsize your betting. It's just, we
all know that's how it goes, right? Right when you up your you up your bet spread, you get slaughtered, and right when you raise it,
it's like when the dealer, you drop your bet because the count drops, and then you get a blackjack, and the dealer's like, it's always when you drop your bet that you get a blackjack.
Right.
Yep, does feel that way, but you did the right thing. You kept yourself in the game.
Right.
And so then what? You're back to, it's like just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. You're back at 5 figures. Did things turn around from there? You back to glory shoe after glory shoe, or?
No, it was I went through the 200-hour break even, and like going on trips during that, I was putting in a lot of hours and going through a lot of variance and dealing with some heat at this point. And it was just getting frustrating because I'd go on trips and come back home with less money or the same amount I left with. And I was like, should I even keep doing this? And so the network I had just really helped with that. I just kept talking to other players and seeing what they're going through, trusted my skills.
Were you just kind of doing like just get in your car and just drive around, or were you flying strategically to certain places? Like, how did you choose where to play?
Yeah, no. So in the beginning, I stuck with my local place, and then I eventually started driving further out.
How long did you last at your local?
I was told one of the shops I was playing at my local was pretty tolerant. That's changed since now. But I got in a lot of hours there. I'd say like 400 hours before they started like taking big notice. Like when I had to go do bigger cash outs, they would demand to show a player's card or ID. And
what was I'm assuming the top bet was fairly low at that point to get in that many hours locally.
Right. Yeah. It was a really low bet spread. And I believe that's why, like if I was betting 2x500 from the start, I think they would take much more notice.
Yeah. What was your top bet?
From when I first started red chipping, it was like $80.
Okay. Cool.
And then I progressed like very slowly. I would go like up to I was going 2x80, and then I went to 2x90, and then 2x200 or 2x100. I played very conservative in the beginning.
Cool.
And went very slow. I went from $10 tables to $15 tables. And then once I was able to play higher minimums, I'd switch to straight double deck and only double deck $25 minimum.
So where we're at in the story is, you had the break even stretch, but you got back to 5 figures, but you're having some, some heat or some backoffs and just not winning. Is that where we're at now today, or what's kind of how'd things transpire?
Yeah, so I just kept, like I said, building my spread along with the games I was able to play. And so I went from playing red chips, $10 tables, and where I'm at today, I can now play black chips on the regular, just betting with the spread or betting with the count, like true 2, 200, true 3, 300, true 4, all the way up to 500.
So it did grow. How long was this stretch from going, $80 to being able to bet up to 2x500? I mean, that's pretty sizable bankroll to get to that bet spread. Yeah.
So I started my red chip spread. I started November 2019 up until now. So 2 years. I've gone through 2 years, and my career hours would be 1,169.
So 1,100, almost 1,200 hours, and still going.
Oh yeah, still going.
And so it's funny how, we as card counters tell the story. It's, from the outside, it sounds like all struggle and resistance, but then it's like, oh yeah, and now 2x500, still going 1,200 hours in. So clearly, in between these really brutal losing or not winning streaks, there, in between all those has been winning, growing, increasing EV per hour, all that.
Yeah, and I learned so much along the way, and having a network has helped me a lot too.
Yeah, explain what you mean by that.
Just like, so I have a core group from the Midwest meetup group, and we all talk daily about what we're going through or ideas we have or whatever we want to talk about. And so I stay in touch with them every day. And then outside of that, I meet other players in the field, and sometimes I'll talk to them and get their number, start a network like that as well.
When you when you would leave to go on a trip, like how long were these trips? Were you away from home? Like were you just gone for months at a time, or would you play for like a couple of weeks, come back, take a break? Like how?
I'd go on a trip I'd plan a trip for 4 to 6 days and then come back home. I'd just go play constantly while I'm on that trip, get as many hours as I possibly can, and then come back home. And literally I get home and I plan the very next trip I'm going to go on.
How long did you like rest for before you go back out?
I was pretty determined. I didn't really rest much. I was like, okay, I can go in 2 days from now, I can go on my next trip. And then I was planning the next trip after that. Like, should I leave from where I'm going next to go to the next trip, or should I come back home first? You know what I mean? But I wasn't gone for months at a time. No.
Was that because of responsibilities, or just it's just what worked for you?
It just is what worked for me.
What did your friends, family, significant other, like, what do they think about you leaving all the time? And
so I explained the math to them, my girlfriend at the time, and then my parents. I just explained the math, and no matter how much I explained it, my dad would still ask me every time after a session I told him about. He'd say, "How much did you make? Did you win or lose?" And I'm like, "Dad, it doesn't matter. Like over time, you can ask me, but if you want to ask me every single time, I'm going to tell you like this doesn't matter. But I lost this much, or I won this much."
Well, to be fair, someone who doesn't know anything about card counting, and then you're going through a 400-hour break-even streak, I feel like, I might be in the same boat asking those questions if I didn't know anything about how it works. It's just like, so does this actually work? Like you've been breaking even for 400 hours?
It was actually a 400-hour losing streak followed by a 200-hour break even. Like from the outside, it's like, oh, well, he's getting lucky for 200 hours and not losing.
Yeah.
The rest of the time. But yeah, I mean, I guess you can do what you can do. Show them 21 the movie or Holy Rollers or Inside the Edge or something to try to help people get it. But it's hard to get people to get it.
Right. If you don't go through it on your own, it's kind of hard to understand that it's over time, the long run game.
Yeah. I mean, and it does. It just sounds crazy. Yeah. If I divorce myself from, the 20 years of knowing about card counting and advantage play, it does sound crazy that you'd spend 600 hours to lose money. Be like, dude, you need to get a job.
Yeah, but Dad, you don't understand. I'm generating EV for the next 100 hours.
Says every degenerate. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But, that's actually interesting. You've got 1,200 hours. You've basically spent half of your career in like brutal losing or break even, and then the other half the opposite. But man, what a weird job to spend half the time. I mean, I guess it's maybe like that for professional athletes. Half the teams have to be losing teams. That's got to be brutal. Like lace up every day or whatever to lose half the time.
Right. That's actually something I kind of wanted to ask you guys and talk about. So you hear about like Yoshi, for an example. He started out and had amazing variance at first, right? So when I first started out, I didn't have the greatest variance, or I went through swings. So if you first start out and you have all these upswings over and over and over, and you keep playing later, is this variance going to equal out and you start losing a lot of money? Isn't it kind of better how I started out in the beginning, not having crazy upswings over and over? I had swings, right? It kind of equaled out. So isn't it kind of better to have that in the beginning where you start out not having crazy upswings so that you're not expecting to lose later on?
Yeah, probably. If I would imagine if all you do is win, and I had a season, it was like a year or so with the first team I was on where, I mean, I was just like, my teammate would say I had a horseshoe up my ass. I just couldn't lose. And yeah, then when you come down from that, it doesn't feel great. Again, I think that's why, data only does so much. We could talk about EV or whatever. Story is far more powerful. And so that's where I think the networking is so important. It's one thing to tell yourself like, well, I'm generating EV while I lose week after week after week. But if you are in relationship with people that, like your Midwest group, like that's brilliant because there's story attached to it that I think our brains are more trained to, be impacted by. So if it's like, I'm losing, I'm talking to this guy, they're winning. And then at a different point in the timeline, I'm winning, they're losing, that can just help to counterbalance, if you're in a vacuum and you're like, I'm generating EV while I get my butt kicked day after day. I think if you could choose, probably, I guess if you could choose, you'd have, no radical swings one way or the other. But if it were one or the other, probably best to, have some bumps in the road early on so that you know what to expect.
Yeah. And for feeling wise, like for feeling it out in the beginning, I think that kind of matters.
Yeah. Feeling out losses, you mean?
Yeah. Or massive wins and continuing playing.
Man, I suppose it's really nice to win initially to build that bankroll, but then you risk, if you're used to winning, you risk not downsizing your betting. So it's tough.
Yeah, that's the risk, is if you don't have the proper training ahead of time and you haven't heard like the life lessons, then if you just go on a huge upswing, then when things start to go south, you might not be as disciplined as someone who does have the knowledge of like, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is probably how it's going to swing. And
yeah, man, it's true. You really do have to experience it.
Right.
And I hear that all the time, people that, I was up this and then lost it all back. And it's really learning those lessons the painful way. I've said this before, but my first team is 4 of us and well, it was actually 3 of us, me, Ben, and Jeff. And we joined up with a 4th guy that had a lot more experience than us. And we were playing at 5% risk of ruin. And we thought we were just being super conservative or, we were being smart. And he's like, with the swings I've had, there's no way I'll play at 5% risk. He forced us to play at 1% risk of ruin. And it felt like, geez, what's this guy's deal? And now it's like, even 1%, man, you could have some crazy swings and you got to be ready to downsize your betting even when you're playing 1%. So, if you just win right at the beginning, it could be really dangerous later on, though, you can build a bankroll real quick if you win right off the bat.
So what, with all like the swings and, all the negative stuff that was happening, what made you want to keep going? Like what about card counting was like worth it to you versus going back to try to find like another welding job or going back that route? Like,
well, it made more money than my welding job for one, and 2,
eventually.
Eventually. And I wanted to travel. I really liked traveling and meeting people that were also doing this. And I was just really determined from the very start. I was determined to get it down perfect, to go to a boot camp and meet people that were doing this professionally. I was just really determined to succeed at this.
And, you're almost 1,200 hours in, a couple of years in. What are some of the things that have been surprising, just different than what you were expecting? Like what things did you maybe have rose-colored glasses about, or what things have been pleasant surprises, either positive or negative?
What surprised me is how much the casinos don't want card counters in their shops. Like I'm doing something that I've learned and I'm doing it well, and they're like, I feel like I'm in trouble for doing it. I didn't expect that. Like, I've heard about backoffs and all that, but the rudeness that is coming from certain casino personnel, that was pretty surprising. It's like they take it personally.
Yeah, it really is when you step back and think about it. It's pretty wild. I don't know if that'll ever change, or, at least they're not, roughing people up as often as 50 years ago. But it is surprising that they haven't figured out, like, oh yeah, I listened to the podcast you guys, the Tens and Aces one, you and Burn Down the House did, and that we're thinking like they are. and that they treat us so differently. Thought that was a good way of putting it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're thinking just like they are to make money, but they hate us for doing that.
And we're being honest about it, and they're not.
Exactly.
What about you mentioned that you wish you wouldn't have played rated. Has any of that changed as far as approach to playing rated and unrated, both as your network has changed or as your betting has changed, or how it's affected your ability to get in hours?
I think it was okay to play rated in the beginning, maybe just like to pick one company, like pick Caesars and stick with Caesars only in the beginning, just so that you can have one place to rely on for free rooms possibly, or some free meals here and there. But I am, now that I'm at where I'm at now, I completely disagree with being rated at all.
That's interesting. If you had to do over, you would have been rated at some chain where you knew the risk, but other than that, just never, no way ever, period.
Right. Well, actually, I kind of take that back now, because the last trip I was on, like my network has really helped me in these decisions, because I wouldn't know these things before I go. But on the last trip I was on, I was told by people in my network that I can go to this place and play rated. Like, I was like, are you serious? Like, I can, like, should I even believe that? But because I've never done that, like I've never gone and planned to play rated and get in as many hours as I did. But that's what happened on my last trip. So there are still places out there that you can come across that you can for sure play rated and get all the comps and everything and still get in hours. But that's rare. It's rare in my situation.
And how, I'm assuming at some point you got databased?
Yeah, I'm 100% databased.
And how has that impacted you, or do you know how it's impacted you?
To an extent, I know it's impacted me. I don't know if it's all because of that or just my style of play. It's hard to figure that out. But I don't know exactly when I was database, and I wasn't like calculating, I'm getting this much less time in now. But I do believe it has something to do with it. Being database, that it's hard to get as much time in as I was in the beginning, but I'm still getting time in. It's just a little harder to find. Like when I go to a market and I have 5 casinos, I have to now search for the one shift out of those 5 casinos that's going to let me play, instead of being able to play all of those casinos like I was in the beginning.
It's also hard to know how much of that is what you're betting now compared to what you were betting in the beginning.
Right. Yeah, that definitely has something to do with it as well. Now that I'm betting 2x500, for example, it shows up like you get more attention for that, obviously, rather than going 2x100.
What do you say is your story for like why you're in that town when a dealer asks you like what you're doing here or whatever?
Yeah, so I might have stolen this from other people, but I'll say like something that they won't want to keep talking to me about. Like I'll say I'm in town for a funeral, blah blah blah, or I'll say so I have a family member that's into the CBD and THC business. And I've used that as well. Like I'll say I'm in town checking out the area for my so-and-so's business. We're trying to reach out and figure out if we should move to the area. I'll just say something like that.
Was that RX Gamble? Did she write a blog post about that?
About the funeral?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where I got that from.
Yeah, it's a good blog post. She's such a talented writer, but also just the way she's thought through advantage play is pretty inspiring. If people are listening and haven't checked out her blog, personally, I recommend it.
Yeah, 100%. I've read all of her stuff and followed her, and yeah, she's very known in the AP community.
My teammates and I, once we were in this really small town, and we had to explain like why we were there, and we're like, oh, we came to go look at some rental properties that we're going to buy, to rent out. We're in real estate and all this stuff. And then the dealer, of course, was like a real estate agent. And then he was asking us all these questions. We had no idea like what he was talking about or what. I don't know how we slipped out of that conversation, but it was just so awkward.
Did you have to have the dealer show you around to properties just to keep your cover?
Yeah,
you can say, oh, no, we already have a realtor. Oh, who? Oh, I can't think of their name. Well, who do they work with?
Yeah,
I don't know.
He was asking us about all these loan rate, all these like specific things to that county, and we were just like, we have no idea.
Right. So it's good to have those stories in your mind before you go in and you're asked. You already know what to say. You're prepared.
Yeah, I think that was kind of her point in the blog post, is to really think through the story so that you have an answer ready, which is definitely not how I approached it plenty of times. But it's smart. It makes sense. Another thing you mentioned in the tens and aces is doing a trip bankroll with Burn Down the House. Do you still do trip bankroll stuff, or what were the logistics of doing that?
Yeah. So I haven't done a combined trip bankroll since then. Not because of the results, but I haven't come across the opportunity. We haven't talked about it yet, but that was my first time actually doing a combined trip bankroll. That trip whenever we did the TNA podcast, that trip we were still on the trip and we did that podcast. And
Okay.
It was an experience. I will be honest, I wasn't comfortable with the max bets we were using because I was still at 2x400, and I'll just say on that trip we were doing 2x1,000.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like nosebleeds compared to what I was used to. Like the swings, the swings for that can be insane.
Yes, they can. And you're CTRing so fast.
Yes, and up to that point, I have yet to even have a win or loss of 5 figures or more off of one table. Like I've had swings up and down between shops of that much, but all from one table has yet to happen. And that's what happened on that trip. Is I literally swung down 10,000 on a table, and in the same shoe came back up 11,000 before that shoe ended. And I was just like, holy crap.
I wonder for card counters that have a network of people that they really trust, I wonder why people don't have a piece of each other's action a little bit more. That's really common in poker, that people have a piece of, another poker player's action. It's a way to kind of counteract variance. But, let's say you and I each have a 50K bankroll on our own. What if I vouch for 10K of your bankroll, you vouch for 10K of mine, just as a way to, have not be in it alone and, counteract some of the variance a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's just not worth the complication and just suck it up and deal with the variance. But I feel like there's some other people. I don't remember if Tommy Highland, if that's how he does it. But I don't know. Just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, that's an idea.
What do you think, Joe? Would you do that?
I think maybe the N0, like it's just so long. But poker, N0 is so long. So I think maybe that's what's like discouraging people from doing it more often.
Well, I guess you'd have to know when you're going to end a bankroll. But I don't know, man. I guess if I were playing full time, Joe, you're playing full time, I feel like I'd be like, hey, I'll take 20% of your action and, vice versa. And at the end of the year, I'm sure it doesn't truly matter if we're both playing perfectly over a lifetime, but it just with how much, the variance is a part of it. It's the variance and just feeling in it alone. It would create a way to not be in it alone, but I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it.
I think why I've never wanted to was just because I don't know, I have a certain style of play, and I know a lot of other players don't play as aggressive as I do. So,
oh man, I'll take a piece of your action. maybe not 20%, maybe 10%.
So I just don't know if they're doing the same things as I'm doing. And it's not like I'm not aggressive as in I'm gambling and I'm betting way more than I'm max. I'm just like, just wonging in and out a lot more often than other people. So I would just want them to do the same. So it's hard to find that match where the other person is the exact same way.
And it could be the same. Like maybe you'd have a hard time, covering someone's bankroll if you know that they're not as aggressive as you. Maybe it's like, what's the point? This guy's not wonging in and out as crazy as I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it makes sense and you have a calculated risk, you trust it all. And so that's what I would go forward with doing it. If I trust it, it's a calculated risk and it makes sense to do it for your situation, I'd go forward with it.
Yeah. Well, people can think about it. Let me know, tell me how I'm wrong here. But getting back to you and your solo, aside from the experiment with the joint bankroll, how do you, on your own personal bankroll, decide when to end a trip and when to close a bankroll or pay yourself?
So NO, I'd either reach those hours and see where I'm at, if I'm close to EV or not, or I would have hit EV, and that's when I would close that bankroll where I reach EV for that trip.
Okay, so explain it one more time. So you try to play for N0 number of hours.
Yeah. So I would keep my N0 for one trip at, or if I'm playing straight double deck, I'll leave it at like 45, 50 hours, and I'll get in that many hours on that trip.
And so 84% of your trips, you should have a positive or non-negative result. You should be at 0 or in the positive 84% of the time if you're hitting N0 for every trip. And so then you just pay yourself or decide after each trip what you're going to do.
Right. Yeah. At the end of each trip, everything I've made goes straight back into the bankroll, and I restart.
And so you feel like that gives you a goal every trip, like, hey, I want to play N0 number of hours every trip.
Yeah. So that's how I understood it since the beginning, and I kind of just stuck with that. That's where I'm at now. That's not the wrong way of doing it, is it?
There's no wrong way of doing it if you're generating EV and managing your bankroll, that it's, like I said, it's going to give you a 84% chance of being in the positive on a trip. So that's not too shabby. You're going to have those crappy, whatever that is, 1 in 8, 1 in 7 trips where it's a bad one, but majority of the time you should have made some profits.
Nice. Yeah. And actually I have a kind of funny story of how we ended the trip bankroll, combined trip bankroll with me and burning down the house. So we, like I said, the results were not what we wanted. The swings were intense. It wasn't going the way we wanted.
What I understood from the podcast, you guys got crushed.
Yeah. It wasn't a winning trip. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I was leaving town the next day. It was at the end of the trip, and we were down a lot of money. So I was like, okay, I'm leaving town tomorrow. Let's do the chop. Let's split the losses, and I'll be on my way. So we agreed to that, and his flight didn't leave until the next day after mine was leaving. So he stayed in town another day after I left, and he played one of the shops that we've already both been backed off from. We couldn't get any more time at. Well, he went back to that same shop on a different shift and ended up playing, I think it was like 12 hours is what he got to. And he won back all of our losses from the combined trip bankroll.
Oh my gosh.
Plus another, I won't say the amount, but another amount of money that was over the amount we lost.
Oh my gosh.
So I guess I should have stayed in town.
Yeah. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Who knows? He could have kept losing, but
right. But that's just how it goes. I decided to split the loss and get out of town, and he stuck around, and that's just how it went.
That's funny. So what about dealing with kind of the grind of being on the road alone? I mean, it seems like you have a huge asset having a group of people to keep in touch with.
Right.
But anything else that you can share?
Just with dealing with the stress of doing this job nonstop. Like when I'm out on trips, I get hours. That is all I'm there for. Besides here and there, I'll go take a break and enjoy the scenery wherever I'm at. But I'm there to get hours. So that's what I'm doing. But with dealing with the stress of all that, I've learned this from another AP actually, is meditating after or even before stressful sessions. Meditating has taken me further than I thought it would have. Just staying calm and in the right mindset.
Have you tried meditating in between every hand?
No, haven't found time for that.
Well, you are playing a lot of double deck. It can be slow. Yeah. They're like, sir, do you want to check your hand? Hold on, I'm meditating.
Actually, I've worked into playing a lot more 6-deck. I want to talk about that. I burnt all of the double deck early on. Got burnt. I got noticed doing that. So I kind of wish I wouldn't have burnt all of my good double deck games from when I first started. because I'm now having to resort to more 6-deck games, which isn't a big issue. It's just, the NO is a little more and the EV is a little less. Am I right?
It depends on a lot of the variables, but
Right.
Generally, if it's a good double deck, generally, but what we can always try to do with 6-deck is if you're good, if you're a pro and can play perfectly and play fast, you can try to make up for the generally, lower EV per hand by just playing more hands per hour.
Very true. And that's something I've concentrated on a lot lately.
No time to meditate at 6.
No. So something burn down the house has taught me is to look for fast dealers and less crowded tables.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like you pretty much got the bulk of your career hours, pandemic hours. So how has that been? Like, are you playing mostly at like busy tables, or like, are you able to get any heads up now? Or
yeah, now I've been concentrating on playing heads up, especially with faster dealers, and whether it's 6-deck or double deck. But in the beginning, I was playing crowded tables. I was basically just playing whatever.
How often are you able to get like a table to yourself these days?
Depending on which market I'm in, pretty often, depending on what day of the week it is. And
nice.
Yeah.
And I imagine having being able to afford a higher minimum bet gets you to tables that can be less crowded. It's really tough when you're, playing the $10 tables to get a heads up. It's basically impossible.
When you're playing whatever everybody else is playing, it's kind of hard to get the fast hands per hour. Yeah, higher stakes, high limit rooms. Sometimes just even if you can't find a table that's less crowded, you can just ask. If you're in the high limit room, ask if they have an extra dealer to put on this table by yourself.
Absolutely.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
Looking at some of your pictures, some of these pictures you're really covered up. Like, you have like the face mask all the way up to your nose and, hat and everything. Are you still getting recognized like by name using that much facial coverage? Or
yeah, there's times I walk in, I can't even play a hand before they're calling me by name, even though I've tried disguises. Like I have long hair and I'll tuck it up under a beanie or a hat where it doesn't look like I have any hair. Mm-hmm. And there's times they'll call me by name before I play, and then there's times I'll get in 10 hours. But yeah, disguises are something I've progressed to figure out. I haven't gone fully onto wigs yet, or troll wigs like Joe. Maybe one day.
That's the secret.
You gonna let me borrow that?
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that one of the reasons you wanted to stick with this or do this rather than, get a different job is that you wanted to travel. Is there anything that you particularly like to do or enjoy doing when you're on the road, not in a casino? Anything you make sure happens in your travels?
Just enjoying the scenery. And if there's a beach, I'm a beach bum. I like to be on the beach. So, well, I think everybody likes the beach though, so that's a normal. Besides that, just enjoying the different foods.
Do you check Yelp for, top rated places to eat or no?
No, not really.
How do you choose where to go?
Yeah, I'll ask the dealers that are dealing to me where they eat.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. And they're like the deli, the casino buffet.
Yeah.
So does that make you prioritize coastal cities more, enjoying the beaches?
Actually, yeah. Yeah, I think was it Richard Munchkin that said it, that while you're doing this in high stakes AP, you could go a whole year without dealing with a winter.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's something that's a goal of mine. Yeah,
that's smart. Anything you still hope to accomplish outside of the casino during your AP career?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Just you're like, oh man.
Besides traveling to places I've never been before, I'm not sure.
International?
I haven't done that yet. I actually got my passport recently, so I can go to Canada and whatnot.
So there you go. There's something still on the...
that's a good one.
What are your thoughts on what you want to do next? Or, is there any thought into that? Or is it just keep counting cards until you don't want to do it anymore?
So I didn't really have this goal since I first started, but since I progressed and I got the money to be able to do this with, and I need to, because I'm looking at houses to flip now that I need to buy a house for myself anyways. I'm looking into doing real estate and flipping houses.
Mm-hmm. Right
And that's not my only option. That's just an idea because I do need to get a house anyway. And now that I have the money, I can do that. But that's not the only option. I might invest in a CBD THC company, like I said, that's in the family.
The house thing, it makes sense if you have the money to do it because you're saving rent yourself. Rent is kind of just, but you get better rates when you buy owner occupied. So that's a play some people do. Hey, buy it, live in it for a year or two, improve the quality of it, and then, and then either sell it or rent it out or refinance it, pull the money out, do it again.
Yeah. And there's friends of mine that know a lot about that they're kind of schooling me on. Mm-hmm. So the opportunity is there and I need a house anyway. I might as well try to figure that out.
Just make sure you research it with the same ferocity that you got into card counting, because we gambled in real estate and lost so much money because we're like, oh, we're smart. We counted cards. Let's just leverage everything we have with terrible interest rates. And, I'm sure we'll make money. And
I remember hearing that.
Yeah. So for anyone out there listening, I forget there's a name for it, but the logical fallacy, which is like, oh, if you've had success in one thing, surely you'll have success in the next. Well, not always. So invest it wisely.
Spending all your hours in casinos, have you seen anything like weird or unusual or any like interesting back off stories you've had?
Oh yeah. One of my most recent visits to Vegas, I had to end up calling gaming 3 different times within that week. So let me give you one example. I'll just say the shop. I was at Boulder Station and I was playing a double deck game. It looked like a pretty new dealer. Actually, I know she was new because I was asking her how long she'd been dealing for, and she said she's been there less than a month. I was like, okay. And I'm starting to get a little bit of heat. The pit boss is on the phone. He comes over, and I have max bets out right now, by the way. And he tells me no more blackjack. I was like, okay, gotcha. And my bets stay in the circle. And since I remember this dealer said she's pretty new, I just kind of sat there and acted like I was looking at my phone, and my bets are in the circles. I'm kind of watching them, and I'm waiting for her to start dealing. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, when they start dealing, and they give you cards, they're not allowed to back them up. Am I right?
Yeah, they have to let you play out the hand.
Right. So that was my goal in this situation: is you better deal the deal to me, because I might have got max bets out, and I got like a sky high count. So I wait around for her start dealing. Well, she starts dealing, and as soon as she gives me my first card, it's an ace. She gives me my second card, it's an ace.
Yes.
And I'm like, all right, cool. I got one more hand in, right? Well, the pit boss comes over and says, I told you no more. You got to take your chips and leave. And I said, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not to be rude or anything. But she started dealing, and I got bets in the circle. Is it not against the law to take cards off the table and take my bets out of the circle now that she's already started dealing? Like, not to be rude, but I'm working for this EV, So especially with max bets out and the sky high count and 2 aces in front of me with max bets. So he reaches and takes the 2 aces and pushes them back in the shoe. Wow. takes the cards out and shuffles them. And I'm like, well, that's not even your job, man. Like, let the dealer do that. And she's dealt the cards. You're not allowed to back them up. And he goes back to the phone. I grab my phone. I start recording. I tell him I'm starting to call gaming. Blah, blah. This isn't what is supposed to be happening. And by this time, I got security guards around me and all that. And I actually do call gaming and let them know what happened. But they ended up telling me I am in the right. They are not supposed to do that. That is not normal procedure. They can't back cards up. You're in the right. But since you didn't receive your second card on your aces, there's no way to tell you would have won the hand. So
Did you explain to him that an ace is your first card is worth 50%?
Oh yeah, I was excited. I had to tell him.
Oh,
So they told me to take my bets out of the circle and go cash out if that's able to happen. So that's what I did.
Jeez.
And they ended up gaming ended up emailing me saying to write up a full report and send it to them, and they'll investigate every procedure and rule that they have at that casino because of this.
Man, I hope it cost them, the casino, I hope it cost them in fines a lot more
Same.
than the EV of that round of blackjack. But yeah, if you had like, let's just say two $500 bets out there, the EV of those two hands is $500. I mean, that could be hours of EV.
Right. Oh, and it didn't actually end there. I walked out and I walked out the wrong door. I was on the whole other side of the casino, right? Yeah. So I get outside and there's a security guard on a bike, and he wasn't following me yet at this point or anything, but I was kind of amped up from what just happened. So I just kind of looked at him and said, "Well, give me a ride. I'm on the whole other side of the casino." And he just shrugged and said no. And I'm walking for a couple of minutes and looking behind me, and this guy's following me. I was like, "Oh shit." I didn't realize this guy was going to be like following me after I said that to him. And I get to the other side of the casino, and there's more security guards on bikes, and they're obviously waiting for me to go to my car so they can get my plate and all that. Well, I call another AP I know and ask him what he thinks I should do. Just walk off the property or go to my rental car to where they can get my plate, and then I'm screwed for the rest of the trip, right? Well, I didn't want that to happen. So he came up with this idea. He said, "Take your shirt off, wrap it around your license plate, jump in your car, and leave as fast as possible." So I went ahead and did that. But as soon as I got to my door to get back in my car after putting my shirt around my plate, security guard stops me and says, No, you're not leaving like that. And he went and yanked my shirt off the license plate, threw it in the parking lot. Yeah, and I'm like, God, I'm dealing with this now too. So like, you guys really get paid enough for this? Like, come on. So I ended up leaving without my shirt.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you got to be careful when you're dealing with a biker gang like that.
Right. Bicycle security guard gang.
Did you ask to get reimbursed for your $500 Gucci shirt?
No, I didn't. I went into the next casino without a shirt. No.
I want to see that picture in a surveillance picture of that. Any other stories you want to share with us?
Let's see. There's just something funny that's happened. I was at one of the local shops I first started at, and being dumb, I ended up giving them my player's card, and they swipe it, and immediately they were looking at it like it's obviously flagged. So a older, short pit boss lady, she like didn't really seem like she knew what she was doing, right? And she got off the phone, came over to my table, and I have a full table. And she comes over and puts her hands on the table and announces extremely loud, "We got an advantage player on the table, guys. Sorry, but we're going to have to not deal the rest of the deck." And I was like, okay, I've never heard that one before. Thanks a lot. And they're all like looking at each other at the table, shaking their head. I'm not going to play this shoe if they're not going to deal the whole round. So she's like looking at me with the side of her eye, like, obviously it's me. You're making it pretty obvious. I was like, thanks a lot. So I just left after that. I've never had that one where they come over and announce it to the whole room.
It's usually the exact opposite, where they pull you away so that no one else knows that they don't deal to players that have a chance of winning.
Right. I've had a couple weird things happen like that, like a pit boss following me out the door after a routine back off, and he's following me with a little like camera, like a handheld camera, not his phone or anything, just a normal camera. And he was walking behind me, and I looked behind to see him, and he said, "One last thing, sir, for our records." He asked me to lower my mask, and he's holding up this camera straight to my face. I said, "Sorry, man, nice try, but no thank you. Like, please do not take a picture of me." And
again, don't you know there's a pandemic going on?
Yeah,
right
exactly.
Now?
Right. I should have said that. And again, I get followed all the way out to the parking lot by security cars.
Not only are you backing me off, you're trying to give me COVID?
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. Any other stories?
Yeah. Is it okay if I share one more?
Yeah.
So this was when I was with Burning Down the House in a market we've been to over and over again, and we've taken money from them different times. But we were in this market one last time, and for some reason, we're at the same table. He was, because it wasn't much heat at all. Like, we could play and do whatever, spread however we want. No heat yet. So we were doing this, and he was on first base. I was on third base. All of a sudden, his eyes get super big, and he's looking over my shoulder, right? So I look over my shoulder, and there's suits gathering. Manager, the pit boss that just got there, is over there talking to him. I look back over at Burn Down the House, and he's gone. He disappeared. And I have stacks and stacks of chips in front of me. So I start to push them in the middle, and I push one stack of green in the middle. And by the time I'm done doing that, they're behind me, tapping me on the shoulder saying, "Sir, can you please come with me? You need to come to my office. We need to talk about what you're doing." And I say, "No, I'm not going with you anywhere. I'd like to just leave if that's all right." And they're being pretty rude and trying to really get me to follow them right now. And I'm declining. So the pit boss, or the suit that was doing this to me, told the dealer to throw my chips in her rack.
What?
I was like, but she hasn't chipped me out yet. She hasn't colored me up. He said, "I don't care." So she did that.
What?
And I was like, "Sir, no, that is my property. That is my money. And I'm not leaving this table until I get it back." And I guess like he seen me start recording on my phone and everything. And he didn't want any problems further.
What was he thinking?
Yeah, that's crazy. Where was this?
It's in the South.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Tribal or non-tribal?
Non-tribal.
Of course.
And I finally get, I wasn't positive that I put 500 in the middle and green. Like sometimes I make my chips look like 500, but it's really like 400 or so. I make it look hard to see from their view to see if it's exactly 500. So I wasn't positive it was 500 that I colored up to. So they put it in the rack, and I don't know exactly if it was 500. So I eventually got 500 out of that. Hopefully it exactly was 500.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to get me to follow them in their office or whatever. I decline, and they say, "Okay, well, let's get these chips cashed out for you." And I was like, "Yeah, please." I wasn't going to color up anymore because they might do it wrong or keep them. So I have rolls of green and black in front of me. Put them all in my pocket. I'm carrying some, and they say, "Let's cash these out for you." And I was like, "Am I going to get the right amount? And are you guys going to like not keep them?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like they started to kind of level with me. So they ended up cashing me out, and I left, and I haven't been back since. They told me to never come back. I actually never got a trespass from that. I expected a trespass.
Yeah, man. I can't believe casinos still do this stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, I'm glad you got the money, but man, I feel like gaming needs to know about that.
Yeah, I threatened to call gaming about that, but I never did. Maybe I should have.
I get it, you're just trying to keep working, but man, it just makes me really annoyed that casinos pull this stuff.
Right. And looking back, I could have probably gone a different way about it. I could have just walked out the door and had someone else come back and cash them for me.
Yeah. So one last question to wrap it up. Are you glad you've gone this route? Do you feel like it's been, what you're hoping to get out of it? Oh,
yeah. I'm really happy I've stuck with it and gotten as many hours as I have. Happy I'm succeeding. I hope to continue succeeding in this. I'm going to play all of 2022, hopefully full time. Last year I got around 700 and something hours. This year I'm shooting for between 800 and 1,000. So hopefully I can continue the success.
And hopefully the relationships along the way have been worth it too.
Oh, 100%. The people I've met, the players that have helped me, it's been amazing.
Hopefully you can generate enough EV to buy a new shirt.
I think I'll buy a couple of new shirts. I gotta buy new disguises. I know that.
Yeah, pay for some new license plates.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time to share your story with us. And if people have follow-up questions, we'll post this on the BJ forum and people can ask you there, hopefully, if that's cool with you. And if people want to, ask questions, learn more, you can check out Blackjack Apprenticeship. Otherwise, we will catch you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And any players that want to reach out, I love helping other new players. So feel free to reach out to me.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks, Joe748.
Thank you.